Chapter 1. Wait, this isn't the buffet? Ezra Sloan was not having a good night. Correction. Ezra Sloan was having the kind of night that deserved its own country song. It began with a breakup text from the situationship he never admitted was real. Then came 3 tequila shots, 1 long crying session in a public restroom, and a dramatic decision to crash someone's wedding. Because free food, right? He didn't know whose wedding it was. Didn't care. All he saw was glimmering lights, expensive suits, and champagne fountains. That was enough. He strutted in with the confidence of a man who just hit rock bottom and decided to start digging. The ballroom was stunning. White roses, golden chandeliers, and a custom ice sculpture shaped like a wolf's head. Fancy. Ezra hated it already. He made it 10 steps in before his heel caught on the edge of the aisle runner. Crash. Boom. Floral arch, dead. Champagne tower, decimated. Ezra Sloan, flat on his back, blinking up at the ceiling like a confused baby deer. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Someone screamed. A camera flashed. Ezra groaned, sat up, and blinked at the man he had just covered in vintage champagne. The groom. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and glacially beautiful, like someone who hadn't smiled since the invention of taxes. His suit alone probably cost more than Ezra's student loans. His hair was slicked back, eyes the color of winter storms, and his expression, God, that face. Ezra squinted up at him, narrowed his eyes, and said in the most annoyed, drunken voice possible, "Who the hell gave the lizard statue a face upgrade?" A collective gasp. A bridesmaid dropped her bouquet. The groom tilted his head. Then he smiled. A slow, sharp, dangerous curve of lips that made Ezra's spine jolt. "Security," someone muttered. "Get him out of here," a guest whispered. But the groom held up a hand. "No." He turned his gaze to Ezra and said with an unsettling calmness, "He stays. In fact, I believe we're just about to begin." Ezra frowned. "Begin what?" Then the officiant cleared their throat, shakily flipping papers. Do you, Riven Albrecht, take this individual to be your lawfully wedded Omega?" "What?" Ezra blinked. "What?" The groom, Riven, looked down at him and smirked. "I do." "And do you?" Wait, Ezra flailed, standing unsteadily. "I didn't say I do. I didn't say anything except, hey, let go of me." But the guests were clapping. The officiant was stammering. Someone threw rice. Cameras flashed again. Riven took Ezra's hand, his icy palm wrapped around Ezra's wrist like a wolf dragging home dinner. "You're mine now," he said softly, just loud enough for Ezra to hear. "You always were." Ezra's brain blue-screened. He opened his mouth to argue, and promptly passed out. The next day, the sheets were too soft. That was Ezra's first thought upon waking. His second, why do I smell sandalwood and sin? He sat up abruptly. Luxurious penthouse. Marble floors. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Velvet everything. The skyline of the city glittered beyond the glass like a galaxy. And lying beside him, shirtless, smug, and deeply cursed, was the man from the wedding. "Good morning, spouse," Riven said, sipping espresso like this wasn't a hostage situation. "You snore when you're drunk. It's charming." Ezra stared at him. "We are not married." Riven turned the iPad toward him. There it was, a digital marriage certificate complete with their names. Riven Albrecht, Ezra Sloan. Status, married. Publicly filed. Sealed by bond registry. Ezra shrieked. "You drugged me," he accused. "No," Riven tilted his head. "You did that to yourself, but I appreciate your enthusiasm." Ezra flung a pillow at his face and stormed toward the door, only to be intercepted by a butler. "Mr. Albrecht, your prenup," the man said, bowing slightly as he handed Ezra a folder. Ezra blinked at it. Already signed. His handwriting, his name, dated 2 days ago. What? How the hell did I? "You were very cooperative at 2 a.m. last night," Riven said, lounging like a smug cat. and very enthusiastic about the complimentary caviar bar in exchange for legal consent. Ezra's jaw dropped. I didn't force anything, Riven said silkily. You crashed my wedding. You said I do. It's all very legal, very binding, very permanent. Ezra's eye twitched. I will kill you. Riven smiled, eyes glowing like a satisfied predator. You can try, my sweet little menace, but now that you're mine, I'm not yours. You'll find I'm very hard to get rid of. Ezra screamed into the nearest throw pillow. Later, the elevator dinged. A new staff member peeked in and said, Excuse me, Mr. Albrecht, and Mr. Albrecht, would you like the his spa package now or later? Ezra threw another pillow. Riven just smiled. Chapter 2. The CEO, the Contract, and the Pink Curtains. Ezra stormed into the Albrecht Corp headquarters with the righteous fury of a man who had been tricked into holy matrimony, emotionally blackmailed by complimentary room service, and addressed as Mr. Albrecht by 4 different concierges that morning. The marble lobby alone screamed, I crush souls for fun. And Ezra, in ripped jeans and a hoodie that said, Stop talking, did not care. He ignored the gasps of receptionists and the terrified stammering of interns. Security reached for their radios, then slowly backed away as Ezra power-walked straight into the elevator like a menace on a mission. Floor 47, CEO. The doors opened with a ding. He charged forward. Riven, you ice-blooded capitalist lizard. The office was absurd. High ceilings, black marble desk, tastefully cruel abstract art. A giant wolf statue in the corner that probably cost more than Ezra's kidney. Behind it sat the very source of Ezra's rage. Riven Albrecht, CEO, bonded alpha, actual villain. And the man who tricked him into marriage. He looked up, perfectly composed, and said, Good morning, darling. Ezra slammed both hands on the desk. This marriage is a scam. Riven slid a folder across the surface without blinking. Your Omega Spouse Corporate Benefits Package trademark. Ezra opened it and blinked. Full health, dental, and heat care coverage. Company penthouse keys. Omega nesting supply. Stipend, $100, 000 month. 1. Personalized Omega Nest architect. Private car, private driver, private chef, private spa membership, and a platinum heat emergency response team. He flipped the page. Named as sole Omega beneficiary in Riven Albrecht's will. Bonded Omega clause, irrevocable. Divorce clause, non-existent. Ezra stared at it. You put me in your will? I told you, Riven said smoothly. You're mine now. Ezra gawked. We've been married for 24 hours. I've loved you for 4 years, Riven replied without a trace of shame. Silence. Ezra's brain glitched. He rebooted by yelling, I'm redecorating this hellhole. And so the war began. By the end of the day, Riven's terrifying black and chrome office had been transformed into a weapon of pastel destruction. Pink lace curtains, glitter pens, and a rainbow cup labeled Alpha Tears. A live laugh love poster hanging directly over the ancient war spear on display. And, God help them all, a stuffed bear with a heart that said, Mated and complicated. Ezra looked proud. Riven looked mildly stunned. Do you like it? Ezra asked sweetly. Because it's non-refundable. I've already installed motion sensors, Riven replied. If anyone touches it, they'll be terminated. Ezra blinked. You're serious? I always am, Riven said. Except around you. Then I'm just unhinged. Ezra blushed, then cursed himself for blushing. To make matters worse, Ezra pulled out his phone. We're filming a couple TikTok. No. Smile for the camera, honey butt. No. Too late, already filming. Say we're mated and emotionally unstable. The video. Ezra, grinning devilishly, wearing heart-shaped sunglasses. Riven, sitting stiffly in the background, clearly unsure whether he's being threatened or seduced. They got 1.2 million views overnight. Top comment. That Omega definitely has dirt on him. Blink twice if you're safe, CEO man. Riven started following Ezra around like a wolf-shaped Roomba. Quiet, watchful, weirdly charming. He memorized Ezra's coffee order by the second day. He fired a waiter for inappropriate smiling. He canceled a shareholder meeting just to walk Ezra to his car. He offered to maul an elevator guy for breathing near you too long. Ezra was confused. No one had ever looked at him the way Riven did, like Ezra was the whole universe and a ticking time bomb wrapped in glitter. It should have been terrifying. It was terrifying. But it was also warm, which was weird. Because Ezra was suddenly getting warm a lot lately. Dizzy, tingly, hot under the collar, constantly annoyed, craving weird things like spicy pickles, ice cubes, and the scent of Riven's stupid cologne. And the worst part? His Omega hormones were acting up, bad. It happened in the boardroom. Ezra was there to deliver the Petty Omega's Guide to Being an Annoying Spouse trademark, aka redecorate the CEO's meeting table with glitter coasters and put fake eyelashes on the wolf statue. Then, out of nowhere, his vision blurred. The room tilted. His scent spiked. His body flushed with heat. Everything felt wrong. Hot. Too hot. He stumbled, clutching the table. Ezra? Riven's voice was suddenly sharp, concerned, feral. Ezra gasped. What the hell is... Then he looked up and saw Riven's eyes change. From cool, storm gray to pure glowing amber. Alpha mode, activated. Riven took one step forward. Ezra took one shaky step back. I am not going into heat in your corporate lair. That's... No. Illegal. Dumb. Riven's voice dropped, gravelly and full of restraint. Ezra, you're about to... I know what I'm about to do, Ezra shouted, waving a glitter pen like a weapon. Don't look at me like that, you predator. I'll call the emergency heat team, Riven said quickly. Don't you dare sedate me with lavender, Ezra screamed. I swear to God, I'll burn this building down. The lights flickered. The staff fled the boardroom. Ezra clung to a pink curtain, sweating and hissing like an unstable kettle. And Riven, still calm, still obsessed, stepped closer, scent rolling off him like pheromone fire. Don't touch me, Ezra whispered. I won't, Riven said gently, unless you ask me to. Ezra's knees buckled. And somewhere, deep inside him, his Omega purred. Mr. Albrecht, the secretary whispered through the door. The heat suppressant delivery's delayed. By 4 hours. Ezra shrieked. Riven locked the door. Chapter 3. Pheromones, Power Plays, and a Pregnancy Test to the Face. It started with Ezra curled up on the boardroom table like a melting croissant. Don't come near me, he hissed, flushed, pupils blown wide, legs tangled in Riven's designer blazer, which he had yanked off mid-heat panic. Riven crouched a safe distance away, breathing hard but not moving an inch closer. His eyes glowed amber. You need help. I need, Ezra snarled, for you to stop looking at me like you want to eat me. I don't want to eat you, Riven said. Ezra blinked. That's a lie. It is, Riven agreed calmly. Ezra let out an outraged screech and chucked a glitter pen at his head. It bounced off Riven's temple with a squeak and sparkled as it fell. I knew this was your fault, Ezra yelled. You probably laced the air vents with your freaky alpha pheromones. Only the east wing ventilation, Riven muttered. Excuse me? Riven cleared his throat. I needed to activate your bond instincts, strategically. You scent-bombed me? Technically, it was micro-diffusion. Ezra launched another pen. You're insane. You're my Omega. For 25 minutes. You're very loud when you're in heat, Riven noted. You're very bond crazy when you're a sociopath. Ezra stood up on the boardroom table and tried to climb through a window. His foot slipped. He fell, right into Riven's arms. I hate you, Ezra panted, flushed and trembling. I adore you, Riven replied, voice low, warm, and horribly sincere. Then, their pheromones crashed together like fire and gasoline. The world tilted. Everything smelled like Riven, cedar, heat, danger, and Ezra's instincts snapped. There was growling, clawing, a bite. Something inside Ezra clicked. Bond snapped like a trap. They bonded. Accidentally. On purpose. In the middle of a boardroom. Ezra woke up 2 hours later in the penthouse. He was in a nest of velvet pillows, faintly smelling of cinnamon and smug alpha. His neck itched. There was a bite mark, a big one, right on the gland. Riven sat beside the bed, typing on his laptop. Calm, serene. A literal disaster in human form. Ezra groaned. What did we do? You bonded with me, Riven said. Ezra grabbed a pillow and screamed into it. You bit me back, Riven added, tone hopeful. I was delirious with hormones. I offered you a safe room, Riven said mildly. You said, and I quote, get in the nest or I'll scream until the glass shatters. Ezra went still. Did I? Riven turned his laptop toward him. There was security footage of Ezra crawling into the nest like a gremlin, demanding back scratches, calling Riven a scent thief, and then yelling, bite me, coward. Ezra kicked him. Delete that footage. Already done. I sent it to my private cloud. You sick, twisted. I also filed for bonded Omega legal protections under your name. Ezra blinked. That's not a real form. I made one. I own the law firm. Ezra shrieked again. The changes started instantly. Riven refused to leave Ezra's side. In meetings, he dragged a plush chair beside his own for Ezra. Security tried to stop Ezra from bringing pink snacks into the executive suite. Riven fired them. When an intern looked at Ezra for too long, Riven paused the meeting, handed the intern a severance letter, and muttered, he was too bold anyway. Ezra nearly combusted. Stop being insane. I'm being possessive, Riven said smoothly, as per our bond agreement. There was no agreement. You bit me. I was heated. You purred. It was a threatening purr. Ezra tried to unbond, tried scent cleansing, tried garlic. Nothing worked. Now everything smelled like Riven. His hoodies, his blankets, the walls. Ezra was going insane. He needed distance, space, oxygen, not scented like Alpha Musk. So he did the only logical thing. He shoved Riven away during breakfast and shouted, I demand boundaries. Riven blinked at him. You're carrying my scent now, he said calmly, sipping coffee. You'll carry our child next. Ezra sputtered so hard he dropped the toast. What? I meant someday, Riven said. You paused dramatically before saying it. You can't just drop a baby threat mid-breakfast. Riven reached into his briefcase, handed over a neatly boxed item. Ezra opened it. A pregnancy test. He hurled it at Riven's head like a ninja star. Just in case, really? Riven dodged. Barely. You did say you felt weird. I feel weird because I bonded to a lunatic. Riven stood, walked over, stared Ezra down. Then said, soft and terrifying, You're mine now, and if you do get pregnant... Ezra grabbed the butter knife. Say it, and I scream. I'll buy you a diamond-encrusted cradle. Ezra screamed. Chapter 4. Baby bombshells, burned nests, and my husband the certified stalker. It had been 1 year since Riven bonded with Ezra, and Ezra drunkenly insulted Riven at his own wedding and accidentally married the most emotionally constipated CEO in the galaxy. Now, they were still married, still chaotic, and absolutely, undeniably in love. Not that Ezra would ever say it out loud. That would be gross. He had standards. A year later. Riven still looked at Ezra like he hung the stars. Ezra still threw pillows at his head and yelled, Stop looking at me like that, you nerd. Riven would just sigh dreamily and ask, Like what? Like I'm your entire purpose in life. You are. Ezra would scream and kick the nearest wall while secretly biting back a smile. Riven, of course, noticed everything, and wrote it all down in his Ezra mood journal, probably. Their second wedding was a lavish $5 million affair with doves, fireworks, and a cake shaped like Ezra's face. Ezra pretended to hate it all. He didn't. He kept a piece of the cake in the freezer like a softie. The baby bomb. And then Ezra saw the 2 pink lines. On 6 tests. He stared. Sat on the bathroom floor in a hoodie that said anti-romantic and clutched the test like it owed him money. Oh no. 5 minutes later. Crash. Thud. Scream. Riven kicked open the bathroom door with unholy alpha panic. What happened? Are you dying? Are you? Ezra threw the test at his head. Fix this. Riven blinked. Then smiled. Then beamed. Don't say it. Don't smile. Don't even breathe happy air near me right now. Riven hugged him anyway. Ezra bit his shoulder. Nesting disaster. The next morning, Riven proudly revealed a surprise. He had built an entire nesting room. Fluffy rugs, lavender-scented walls, mood lighting, pregnancy-safe stuffed wolves. Ezra took one look, narrowed his eyes, and burned it down. With literal matches, I'm not some delicate omega pudding tart who needs a furball cave. Riven blinked at the smoke rising from the ruins. But it had hypoallergenic blankets. Ezra patted his shoulder. Next time, ask me before constructing a womb cave without my approval, husband. Hormone madness. Ezra's pregnancy hormones were ungovernable. He sobbed over soggy cereal one morning and screamed for triple spicy ramen at 3 a.m. the next. Riven, of course, drove to Korea himself for the right brand of instant noodles. Ezra, I hate you. Also Ezra, 5 minutes later, no one cooks noodles like you. Riven carried him around the penthouse bridal style, even when Ezra threatened to bite his ear off. Rubbed his swollen feet, fed him mochi, glared at the sun for being too bright for Ezra's delicate eyes. Every boardroom meeting started with, if any of you stress my Omega out, I will break your fingers and buy your family's company out of spite. Ezra flipped him off and cried from happiness. Corporate war worries. Things took a turn when corporate rivals found out about Ezra's pregnancy. They tried to kidnap him. Riven, after launching a legal attack, personally stormed their headquarters, crushed the board, tanked their stocks, bought the company, and renamed it Ezra's Revenge, Inc. He returned home with blood on his suit and baby booties in a gift bag. Did you get what I asked for? Ezra asked. The grape slushie with that weird gummy eyeball topping? Riven nodded. Of course. Ezra sniffled. You're so annoying. I love you. What was that? I said you're so annoying. Shut up. 5 months pregnant. A stalker's shrine. At 5 months pregnant, with a visible bump, way too much sass, and a spicy noodle band from his doctor, Ezra went looking for snacks. Instead, he found it. A hidden drawer. Photos. Notes. Surveillance. A full-blown shrine. All of him. Ezra blinked at a file labeled Ezra Sloan, potential soulmate, dated 6 years ago. Oh my God. He stared at the photos, the doodles, the annotations about his favorite drink, his old college blog posts, one labeled Ezra Sneezing Compilation. Riven walked in, freezing mid-step. Ezra turned slowly, holding up the stack. You've been stalking me for years. Silence. Are you going to cry? Ezra asked. Or monologue about how it's not creepy? Riven took a deep breath. Then said, I don't regret it. Wait, really? I would do it again, 1,000 times. Because I knew from the moment I saw you that you were mine. And I wanted you to know it, slowly, every day, until you either loved me or set me on fire. Ezra stared, then burst out laughing. Oh my God, I married a certified stalker freak. Riven winced. Please don't leave me. Leave you? Babe, I'm 5 months pregnant with your alpha spawn, sitting in your penthouse, eating your imported mango gummies, and wearing your boxers. Ezra smirked. You're so stuck with me. Then threw a gummy at his head and waddled away like a menace. Chapter 5. Labor, Love, and Glittery Diapers. Ezra was 9 months pregnant and fully done with everything. Done with swollen ankles. Done with hormones. Done with being called glowingly beautiful when he looked like a sleep-deprived sea lion in silk. And most of all, done with Riven. Specifically, Riven's overbearing Alpha Stage 5 clinginess trademark. The Nesting 2.0 War. I told you not to touch my cereal shelf, Ezra snapped, waddling into the custom-designed fridge Riven installed just for his cravings. Riven blinked, dressed in a $1,000 suit and holding a diamond-encrusted pacifier. It's hypoallergenic. I'm gonna throw it at you. Ezra tried, missed, cried, and then demanded an entire mango cheesecake at 2 a.m. while sobbing into Riven's lap about how soft the clouds look today. Riven rubbed his back gently. They do look fluffy, darling. Ezra sniffed. Shut up! I hate you. The Alpha meltdown. Labor started on a Tuesday. Riven had a boardroom meeting with government ministers. It lasted 13 minutes and then he stood. He felt uneasy through their mating bond. His face paled. Ezra's in labor. Everyone blinked. Then, the Alpha CEO leapt onto the table, snarled, and ran out of the skyscraper barefoot, ripping off his tie mid-sprint. He made it home before Ezra even finished yelling, "Where is my heat pad? Why is the cat staring at me funny? Where's my blankie?" Riven scooped him up bridal style. Ezra tried to bite him mid-contraction. The delivery room massacre. The hospital was a war zone. If you touch my stomach without permission, I will end your bloodline, Ezra screamed at the nurse. She's just trying to check your dilation, Riven whispered. You want to dilate something? Come here. 12 nurses had to rotate. 2 cried. 1 ran away, screaming, "The Omega's possessed." Meanwhile, Riven was holding Ezra's hand with one hand and threatening doctors with lawsuits if they made Ezra cry. Finally, in a final scream that would make banshees weep, their baby was born. The baby. It was a boy, red-cheeked, big-eyed, swaddled in a glittery onesie that said CEO in training. Riven cried, openly, beautifully, like a Hallmark movie alpha. Ezra just stared. It looks like you, he muttered. Then added, that's unfortunate. Hopefully he gets my charm. He has your nose, Riven whispered, in awe. And your fists. He punched the nurse. Ezra looked proud. That's my boy. The name of the baby. What should we name him? Riven asked. Ezra blinked. Caviar. Really? No. God, do you even know me? Riven smiled, fond and delirious. Ezreal? Ezra froze. His name. With Riven's last name. Okay, that's kind of cute, he grumbled. Then added, but I'm still going to call him Gremlin until he's old enough to sue me. The epilogue. 6 months later. Ezra was still a menace, still sarcastic, still bossing Riven around in their mansion while cuddling their baby and demanding imported strawberries. Riven was still obsessed, still followed Ezra around like a lovesick Labrador with a black Amex. Ezreal? He drooled on everything, laughed like a demon, bit Riven's tie off during video meetings. The media called them the power family from hell. They called themselves happy. Later that day, Ezra stood at the penthouse window one night, baby on his hip, looking out at the city. Riven hugged him from behind, arms wrapped around both of them. Remember when you called me an emotionless lizard? Ezra smirked. You still are. Pause. But you're my lizard. Riven kissed his cheek. Say it again. Shut up. Say you love me. Ezra rolled his eyes. I love you, you stupid stalker alpha husband. Riven beamed. Ezra added, now go warm my noodle bowl before I cry again. Yes, darling. And they lived happily, chaotically, obsessively ever after.